In episode 1, Amy reevaluates her role at the youth center after another Miracle Girl experience, and Jack misses Lisa, especially now that Tim and Jessica are compelled to move in. Here is a breakdown of what occurred in episode 1. Before I start, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Major spoilers ahead if you have not watched the episode 1 yet. On their way to Ty Borden's youth center to conduct a clinic, Amy and Lindy saw a truck veer off the road at the beginning of Heartland season 16 episode 1. When the tire on the truck pulling the horse trailer burst, the driver lost control and had to veer onto a side road to avoid hitting a ditch. When the truck driver went to check on the horse inside because it was startled, the animal fled. Amy was there to assist, but it was Lindy who ended up saving the day. Lindy saw her mother stop Copper from trampling them by raising her hands up and soothing the horse earlier in the day, while Amy and Lindy were working Ty's horse, Harley. Lindy defied Amy's instructions to stay in the vehicle by unbuckling from her seatbelt, exiting Amy's truck, and making the same motion to the terrified horse. Amy instinctively fled when she saw this to keep her daughter safe, but Lindy had stopped the horse. Peyton Westfield then stormed up to claim her horse, Moondance, yelling at the truck driver for the mishap that, quite frankly, he wasn't to blame for. The mother-daughter pair had no idea that onlookers were recording everything. After Lindy and Amy's video went viral in the evening, the Hudson Times featured Lindy and Amy on their front page with the headline, "Miracle Girls." The following morning. However, Amy did not appreciate the newfound focus on both her and her daughter. She spent the following morning trying in vain to have the video removed because she didn't want Lindy's face to be so widely seen. As well as taking calls from potential new customers who contacted her after watching the video and asking her to work with their horses. You might assume that Amy would benefit from the surge of new clients, but not in this instance. Amy was already stressed out from juggling caring for several horses for different clients, running clinics at the youth center, and spending time with her daughter. Therefore, adding additional responsibilities would require making a trade-off. Jack, Lou, and Tim all noticed how exhausted Amy was, and Tim and Lou tried to talk to her about how she needed to spend less time at the youth center in order to be able to maintain her own business. However, as Jack explained to Tim, Amy had to come to this realization on her own because until she does, nothing will change. Fortunately, Amy finally understood that her time might be better spent at Heartland, working with horses who actually need her help and spending time with her family. She came to this conclusion after speaking with her grandfather and helping Jessica with her new horse. Amy was taking calls from prospective customers, while Lindy's kindergarten classmates shunned her due to her newfound fame. Nobody wanted to play with Lindy any longer, not even her friend Andy. Additionally, Lindy's teacher Ms. Clarissa made matters worse by giving her extra attention and constantly praising her for her bravery. Jack intervened after observing this. Along with suggesting that Ms. Clarissa tone down her compliments so Lindy isn't singled out as much, he also assisted the young girl in realizing that the other kids are just jealous and that soon things will return to normal. The young girl appeared to be enjoying herself by the end of the episode. Additionally, the time Amy spent with her daughter, even considering adding the letter S to the words "Miracle Girl" on the saddle Prince Ahmed gave to Amy, great callback, am I right? Helped even more. Later, when Amy and Lindy went for a ride in the evening, they used the saddle. A surplus of cooks. Speaking of Jessica and her new horse, Flash, Jessica was also seen battling with her hose during Heartland season 16 episode 1. The fact that the newlyweds had to stay in Katie's room while the plumbing in their loft was being fixed only served to add to Jessica's frustration. Tim and Jessica were temporarily residing at the ranch house with Jack, Amy, Lindy, Ju, and Katie's, which was irritating everyone because, as they say, too many cooks spoil the soup. But particularly on Jack's, who was already cranky from missing Lisa. So when Tim, Jessica, and Jack started arguing, everyone's annoyances reached a boiling point. Jessica had learned that morning that Flash had escaped and she was unable to find him. She was therefore having a bad day. Include Jack's irritability and anger with Jessica repeatedly asking him when the party needs to repair the plumbing in the loft will arrive. In addition, Jack accused Tim of initiating the plumbing issue since Tim decided against installing a more robust water system in favor of a less expensive, no-name model. As a result, Tim and Jessica were allowed to return to the loft after Jack had fixed the plumbing. Amy later guided Jessica through the process of obtaining the horse to join up after first assisting Jessica in finding Flash. Additionally, we witnessed Lou and Katie return from one of their almost weekly visits to Vancouver to meet Peter. Lou's romantic life had returned to normal, but it had a bad effect on Katie and her job. When Katie and Lou returned to the ranch, Katie appeared anxious. Additionally, the fact that Tim and Jessica were still staying in Katie's room meant that she had to share a room with Lindy. Lou sensed that something is seriously wrong when she watched Katie throw one of her textbooks across the room. During their conversation, Lou finally acknowledged that she is spending too much time in Vancouver and that she will cut back on both her travel there and the need to bring Katie along with her. Lou should not take Rick for granted because he might not always be around, Rick said in frustration. Lou feared that. So, after mulling it over for about a day, she eventually asked Rick what he meant. And at that point, Rick informed Lou that he and his companion Carl had begun the adoption procedure. Rick may perhaps need to take some time off the job in the future for paternity leave.